Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Chat About Death. And I'm joined today, you should see what she's doing on the other side of the table, is Annie. Hello Annie.
Hello.
Yeah, she's doing all sorts of 80s moves and whatever. Yeah, I can't even look at her. It's quite funny. So today we are going to be doing some general questions. And Annie has reached out to all her friends asking questions about, how can you say it? Like, what questions do you have about the funerals, funeral industry, like just in general? I mean, that's obviously, yeah.
All four of them.
Yeah, she's put it out to four of them. They had a board meeting and they've discussed it.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And once again, we're having a can of Pepsi, and then the air decides to come up. And then you end up sounding like a bit like that.
Have I ever told you my first call that I took when I worked at Centrelink? It was after training my first ever call. And I answered the phone and I said, oh, hello, you're speaking with Annie. Can I get your customer reference number, please? And then burped, like, down the line. And this guy was like, luckily he was good sport.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know for future, she will not be answering our phones, okay?
No.
So you don't have that Bremba family funerals. This is Annie. So general questions.
Yes.
Let's start us off. Tell us what.
So, one of my friends asked how does a family go about, or how does a family navigate planning a funeral when they've not had a chance to speak with the deceased about their last wishes?
Well, firstly, that becomes quite difficult because one of the first questions that we're going to ask the family is burial or cremation. And if they don't know that, then that has to live with that person or that family for eternity, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's a real hard one. It's a real hard one, especially because some people are so against one thing but not outspoken about it.
I look at what has been the history of the family in the past, the ones that have gone. Have they been buried? Have they been cremated? What's that? If there is a husband and wife and the wife was cremated, it's likely the husband will probably be cremated. But then again, I'm only assuming. And that can traumatize a lot of people. That's why we always say, even on our episodes here, is talk about it. You only have to talk about it once. If you don't, this is the situation that you've got. But what happens if it's a little person, like a child, or early teens or early 20s and all that, and they've lived a pretty fun life. It's not a subject, I guess, that you talk to an 8-year-old about. But death is meant to be a natural process. We can't get away with it, not unless they bring out something different. So I think, I think the family just needs to make a decision, unfortunately. And I guess it depends on what people believe in, but it is just their shell, their earthly shell. The soul has gone to wherever, and it's just a means of being able to, I guess, remove that earthly body. Be it cremation, burial, acclimation, fire, shot into space or sea burial.
See, that would be fun. I'd love to be shot into space.
Imagine that, like in 100 years' time, people up there, and there's been that happening, and you're driving one of these little spaceship things, and then all of a sudden, boom, Roger that got thrown into space 100 years ago has now just smashed your windscreen. How do you do that for insurance? Like, what hit you? I don't know what it was, but it was human.
I don't know what it was, but he had a great beard.
So, that's him. He's coming back. Yeah. So, would that make sense? I think that's family. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is hard. There's no right or wrong with it. Like I just took a call just before about a 96-year-old lovely lady lived a life, and but she doesn't want a funeral. She just wanted to be cremated, and then they'll do their own thing down the track, and that's up to them.
And that's what we did with my nan.
Yeah, like I think I've even had people say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that it's just a cremation." It's like, why are you apologising to me? Like, if that's what you want, like I'm not gonna look at you and go, "Oh my God, you didn't love your mum." Like,
Yeah.
it's like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
We can laugh about it, no, but no, you got to do what's right, and that's make a decision.
I think also it is sort of it has to be comforting for families to know that if they describe their loved one to us, we can steer them in the service of, or in the direction of whichever service is best suited to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Dad was a real bloke's bloke. Just was very much like, oh, put me in a box and burn me, but we don't want to do that. A simple service.
Yeah. You just you're keeping it to, or there might be little things around, over the years that he or she has said. And you're going, yeah, I remember him. We were in the shed one day and he was telling me about something, and, I don't know, you just make it whatever you need to from that.
Yep.
Another question. Do you have another question?
Oh, yes, sorry. I thought the way that you said that. This is a new sound effect, guys. We're very excited by it.
I am. I'm playing it to death now. Get it? Playing it to death. Yep.
Next question.
Yes. What is the next question?
This one came from another one of my wonderful friends, and it's about taxidermy. Now, she just wanted us to talk about taxidermy in general.
I don't know a lot about taxidermy.
Neither do I. I just know that it's illegal.
Yeah.
But
for human?
For human.
Yeah.
So animal, animal taxidermy, you can do it.
What happens to all these other?
No, so you have to be, to taxidermy animals, you have to be licensed and trained.
And have a really
strong stomach.
Oh,
I couldn't do it.
No.
No.
And look, once again, it's like what we do. There's probably people out there that go, oh my God, I don't know how you could deal with what you do. But I don't know if I could go in the summertime and go and scrape a wombat off the side of the road.
And then peel its skin off.
And do that and make it look pretty again.
Yeah.
Where they dry the animal. Oh,
it's a real art form. But that being
Imagine being
said,
the neighbour.
Yeah, that'd be rough. Don't you think that people think that about us though?
Oh yeah, that's what I was just saying. You didn't listen to that bit.
No, I did, but I'm not just about that, but making them pretty. We make them pretty.
Oh yeah. I think here we are saying, oh, I couldn't do that job, and that's exactly what people would be saying out there. I can't do your job. It's like,
they're just sort of like a step further than us.
I think, to be honest, animals have a different smell than what humans do. I can 100%
absolutely
put that down. So, but the human smell is better than
Oh, actually, no. You know what? I gotta say that's subjective. I would rather smell a decomposed animal over a decomposed human any day. I think that it's not so much the smell. It's the confrontation that my body will possibly end up doing that. I think it's that. My body's not going to make the same smell that a cane toad makes, and dead cane toads, they smell. Because you're also from North Queensland.
Yeah,
mate.
They
reek. Yeah. That is like the worst smell in the world. And I would rather take.
But saying that we do not harm any animals, we do not well, not now,
No, not since
but
growing up.
but it
Moving out
was,
of
yeah.
Queensland.
Unfortunately, it was just. But there was a huge cull. It's like when people like with kangaroos and deer, and because deer is real. You do know that, don't you?
I know that now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just for the listeners out there,
I thought that
and
I
go on.
thought that deer were fictional for a really long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And when I found out they were real,
Bambi.
I thought they only lived in Alaska. And I thought
Yeah.
they had white dots on their bums, all of them.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that was
Yeah.
me when I found out the deer were real. And then
Oh.
I saw that there was one in Albert Park, and I was like, "Oh, that's close. That is
Oh, yeah.
Metro Melbourne."
It's like sitting on your couch. Imagine that,
Yeah.
like you come home after a hard day and you
And
go,
it's
oh, Bob, what are you doing? He goes, I just thought I'd catch up on a bit of Netflix. Yeah.
I just wanted to watch Bambi.
Yeah. You could have left your antlers outside, though. I
Yeah,
didn't know if
exactly.
you needed to do that. So,
Sorry, back to
yeah,
to
taxidermy.
taxidermy. It's not legal anywhere in the world because of the regulations around handling human remains and human organs. It's completely illegal for a taxidermist to even attempt to taxidermy
But,
a person.
you think over time, when you look at history, there has been people, even though it was illegal, but there was like serial killers out there that were doing this sort of stuff.
Like, remember we discussed Ed Gein? I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, going and like,
Yeah.
and maintaining the organs or preserving them and
The
making
guy
them into.
who used his, she was like a young woman neighbor. When she passed away, he dug up the grave and pretty much turned
That's
her
right,
into a paper
yeah.
mache doll.
Yeah. Well, no.
Strange.
So yeah, not something that will ever be legalized. I do know there was a country, and we did talk about it on another episode, but of a country that allowed people to donate their bodies to art or the arts, where they actually did quite similar things to taxidermy, but made people out of furniture or into
Made-
furniture.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the grandfather clock.
Yeah, no. I still have dreams about that stuff. You just don't. You don't do that.
No, that's something that I reckon once you see that, you'll never be able to unsee it.
No.
Um,
So what are some of the things that you should avoid doing or saying at funerals, do you think?
This one is a bit of a negative one. The rest should be pretty lighthearted, hopefully. But this one is very, we're putting on our angry pants now.
Yeah.
Don't say that they deserved it. Nobody's going, oh, they deserve to die. But saying stuff like, oh, I told her to stop smoking a pack a day, that sort of stuff. That's implying the implication of, oh, well, what did she expect?
Yeah.
She deserved it. Things like that, they're not helpful to anybody.
Yeah.
You're not.
Should have stopped eating. You should be exercising more.
Yeah.
You should be, like if
You
you
know
enjoy life, you enjoy life, whatever it
Exactly
is.
right. It's,
Yeah, I mean, you could be an athlete, absolute solid rock, and we've seen this in history too, where athletes, and footy guys are out there and they all of a sudden have a cardiac arrest. They're eating the right food, they're drinking the right drink, they're doing all the exercise, they're doing that, and then they go bang, done.
Yep.
So, doctors have said that for someone that has smoked a packet a day or whatever, shouldn't stop, because if they do, they're going to die.
Yep. Pretty
So
much.
continue going along. Yeah.
Don't compare somebody else's grief to yours. So I've actually seen this a couple times where somebody will talk about, and they're not like, oh, well, it could be worse, which is, you shouldn't say that anyway.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like, oh, well, you were 40 when your dad died. I was only 10. That's not- Nobody. Okay,
Yeah,
congratulations.
No, that's like, thank you. Thank you for making it all be about you.
Exactly right.
It's irrelevant.
Look, I understand that people discuss differently. I know that when somebody is sharing something with me, I use my own personal experiences
Yeah.
to show that I relate to them. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's not appreciated, and so I've tried to stop doing it. But that is one circumstance where I would never, ever, when it comes to death or when it comes to grief,
Yeah.
it is one circumstance where I'm never like, oh, well, okay, your dad died, but my granddad died 7 years ago, so
Yeah.
I can relate. That's not, you know what I mean? And I understand that some people, especially neurodivergent people,
Yeah.
they use
That's the word of the week.
neurodivergent.
Yep.
It's the word of every day for me, Chris.
Yeah.
It's they use, or we use our own experiences
Yeah.
to relate. But I just think that funerals and death and that sort of like death grief
Yeah.
is where you shouldn't,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
because that's theirs.
3
years down the track, if you're discussing your dead father and I bring up my dead grandpa,
Yeah, it's
sure,
different.
we're having
Yeah.
a conversation. But I'm not going to come to you on the day of your dad's funeral and go,
Yeah.
oh, well, my grandpa died 7 years ago, so I know what you're going through,
Yeah. No.
because it's not helpful for anybody.
No.
Yes, so avoiding comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
There are times not necessarily to compare, but to discuss, and bringing your own grief into somebody else's funeral is not very nice.
Oh, another one was everything happens for a reason. Oh, it was destiny. It's going to happen.
It was just his time. This was God's plan for him.
And we have discussed it on a podcast before. But look, it is one of those things. And I'm just going to read something here. It said, don't tell families that their loved one is in a better place. Now, in one way, I can see both ends of it, because it's like this person could have been suffering.
I think that it depends.
It's a circumstance.
I know that I've seen it a lot in particularly Christian families, where there was a funeral that we actually did. I think it was my second funeral with Bremba.
Yeah.
And the daughter kept saying, "Oh, well, she's with her Lord. She's in a better place." I think in that case, if that is something that that I mean, regardless, I probably wouldn't say it. But I think in that case, if it's something that the family genuinely believes, like they genuinely believe that this person is with their God, with their.
But you think that
Saviour.
the better place, and being that would be nice to be with your family that's here.
Yeah.
Like that would be
It would
the better thing.
yeah.
But if they do have a belief, the other thing is too, like we're saying, if the person has suffered a long time, then I would say, look, at least they're now free of all that suffering and
Exactly.
that pain.
But I would never say that they're in a better place.
Yeah. What's the next one there? You got the
My last point is just to offer the family love and comfort. Don't try to be a therapist. Don't try to pull out cliches such as, they're in a better place or everything will be okay. Because at the moment,
he's gone now, mate. Just move on.
Exactly. At the moment for them, everything is not okay.
No, it's
and
not.
they think that the better place is with them.
Yeah.
So just being there, showing your love and support and comforting the family is the best thing that you can do for them.
Definitely.
And the sentiment will mean more to them than any words that you could say.
Yeah.
Unless it's, I love you.
There is, there's so many other different words and sayings and things like that. And I think it just depends on how you've been brought up, or that it's the automatic response to just say blah, 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 and it's like, oh my God, I've said it, and I think the person that is grieving, and it depends on what stage they're at, will depend on how they compute that in their mind. We know that text can say something totally different to what it was intended to be. Same with speech. Once you've said it, it's too late.
Yep.
You can't go back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that."
Because that's how you said it.
Just moving on here now, state funerals. We've had quite a few around Melbourne over the last probably 6 to 12 months. And I think you asked the question of who deals with all of that, like how how does this all happen? Now, the state funerals that I've been on, I have never arranged any because, I wasn't of that caliber at the time. It's normally the high end that do it. The government then reaches out to the family and then they make a decision of where they go. Now, normally it is a large provider because they've got, all the cars, they've got all the hearses, they've got all that. But that doesn't mean that if a family said, if a well-known person said, oh, well, I want Bremba to deal with it, then we can. It's just, it's just normally looked at as a larger provider rather than a medium. So the family still gets, obviously it's their loved one. So the state is only there to do the logistics of it, venue, where we're going to do it.
Does the state pay for it?
Yes. Yeah. So they have certain restrictions that they have to abide by, but it'll be, okay, well, what type of flowers do you want? Like the arrangement still happens as per what we normally do, and then the bill's just sent to the government. But we then liaise, okay, well, St. Patrick's is going to be like we had for Father Bob, will be this date, this time. That works in best for everyone. The media can get there, everyone can get there, everything's beautiful, let's go. Right? So, but yeah, if the family decided, no, well, we don't want TB or we don't want LP, well, we're going to go with Bremba or whatever, I don't think I've seen that happen, but you never know what's down the track.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day that we're grand and that we get the honour of being able to perform one, because that would be magical. I've been on them.
Is there a state funeral that you've wished that you had been on?
Just trying to think the last state one I was on. It was a long time ago. They're just interesting. And they're grand. Like you're meeting or seeing a lot of people that, it could be the Prime Minister, it might be local celebrities, it could be actors like Barry Humphries and all of that, I've seen the Prime Minister, I've seen actors, I've seen, other MPs and clergy and all sorts of people that and the gangland people too, out on these funerals. So it's a eye opener, and you've got to concentrate on what you're doing, because you could sit in the corner going, oh, did you see that person? Yeah, that's, but you have to. It's, but wow, what an experience. Or I had the job of driving, I think it was car number 6, driving like the great grandkids around, because obviously you wouldn't have been allowed up the front because, they're, certain amount of experienced drivers were at the front. I was car number 6, and it was great being in a cortege with 2 hearses. One had flowers in it and the other one had the body in it, family cars, and then a huge convoy of other cars coming, and it was just magic. It's hard to explain it, but pulling up to a family home with 6 cars and just the media, you had to make sure that you didn't split your pants. That'd be on Channel 7.
Oh yeah.
But standards and things like that. Yeah, you had to be on your top of your game.
Yeah. I can just imagine.
And it's not. Yeah, normally the hierarchy, general managers and all that are the ones that deal with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Yeah, it's a funeral arrangement. It doesn't really change what we physically do.
It just means that the state pays for it.
Yeah,
it's just a lot
just
grander.
a little bit grander.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This was a good question. Are there any recent advances in how we work, or have funerals always been done this way? Now, I can't speak for this one because I've only been in the industry a year.
3 minutes.
Pretty much compared to you, yeah. I've only been in the industry a year, so I can't really speak to this one.
There's probably more than what I'm about to say here, but the ones that sort of came out at the time were, since I've started in the industry, there's been more more women entering it. Now, I think, to be honest, it is the most fantastic thing to ever happen with our industry. Now, the only women that I remember when I first started was receptionists and the tea ladies. Very rarely would you see a man behind the reception counter or would be dishing up tea and coffee and scones and jam, which were very nice, by the way.
Yeah.
And the chicken and chive sandwiches.
How good are the chicken and chive sandwiches? Oh my God, I used to. I love, so whenever we did a funeral at the chapel,
Yeah.
at the place that I used to work,
Yeah.
the tea lady would, if sandwiches were left over, she'd put all the chicken ones on a plate for me. You'd
Yeah,
go, oh,
nice. Thank
they are
you.
like crack.
Very, very nice. But yeah, they were the only positions that the ladies would be in. We did have a couple of girls that were drivers, and they were looked at like, oh, well, you can't lift, you can't do this. But I will tell you now, I've been on the van with these ladies, and I, you sort of go with what you've heard, but they could lift far more than what I could. But their approach towards families, their female sense of things, like when it comes to children, and I don't know, and that's why I've only had basically women within my organisation, because that's what I want. That's the direction. The males that we have had have been, yeah.
I will say, and I've not arranged a funeral,
No.
but I will say that from what I've noticed, the women that I've worked with who have arranged funerals have just had a softer touch. I've worked with beautiful, beautiful men who have been arrangers. I only know 2 male arrangers, but they are the most beautiful boys ever.
No.
Okay, sorry, I know 3. I forgot about you,
Oh,
Chris.
you went. Oh, okay. Is that
I know
right?
3.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they are the most beautiful 3 people in the world.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
But women just have a
Yeah.
naturally softer touch.
There's a different thing. So to have women within the industry has been a huge thing. But also, I think because of injuries and things like that, there has then also been a higher OH&S standard increase. You've now got grave covers. You've got shoring that goes into the grave to make sure that the grave doesn't collapse. You've got, different lowering straps, and lowering devices are different, and they're not tending to put graves on top of each other. Like we made comment, I think, one day when we went past, I think it might have even been in Cranbourne, how the graves, like to get a grave down the middle of these, you would have to straddle on top of the other graves to get over. And that's not
There wasn't
right.
even, between some of these graves, between the foot end of Joe's grave and the head end of Hilda's grave.
Yeah. Oh, you know them?
Yeah, I do.
Because,
My best mates. It wasn't even, it wasn't even as thick as my calf.
No.
That being said, I've got beefy calves.
So standards for OH&S. What else? But it's because someone has either done something really silly or an injury has happened. I mean, they've had grave diggers go into a grave and it's just collapsed on them. Someone down the beach, they go and dig a hole and think that it's really good to cover themselves in sand, but it's not, because that's like, it could be half a ton worth of sand that you've just now plopped on top of yourself.
Yep.
And once that sand or soil, once you breathe out, that soil compresses. So they always say if you ever do get like stuck in a situation like that, keep your air inhale and take short breaths in and out to keep your chest wide. The other big thing is price increase. Oh my God. Every 3 minutes, everyone wants to up their price. cremations, burials. Like the cost of burials now is just
Ridiculous.
yeah. I think in one way it's become really greedy now. You know, like
Absolutely.
a cremation when I first started was $500, and even then, like, we were going, "Oh, geez, that's expensive for a cremation." It's like, "Oh my god!" Now, what is it, $1,200 or something? If you're using it, and look, you know, you got to pay what you got to pay. Like, but yeah, increase on everything. Catering, like $25 per person for tea, coffee, and biscuits, and a few sandwiches. Like, it's yeah, it's a bit of a rort in some, but once again, you want to be buried, you want to be cremated, you want this, you want that certain thing, you've got to pay it.
Exactly right.
That's why we try to keep our fees fairly constant and flat, so it's maintained very transparent with that. But you know, we've only had to up our price a couple of times, but because the big boys put theirs up, or like with the cemeteries and all that, we've got to, because if not, it's starting to dig into, you know, everything else. And like I said, there's probably other things that have really happened. I mean, even to the point of vehicles, like to go and buy a brand new stretched car, like be it a Chrysler or a Mercedes or whatever. I mean, even the old days of Ford and Holden is minimum $250,000. Minimum.
So expensive.
For what? A car that's going to depreciate? No. You know, look, if you had all the bells and whistles, like what some of these cars out there do now, and it was $100,000, yeah, okay, sweet, but not like that again. Like, you know, but once again, car prices have gone up. That means then they have to stretch it. They have to do everything. But I inquired about, they called it the economy or budget hearse. I thought, beautiful, let's get a price. That was $250,000.
What?
Yeah, that's the budget.
You didn't pay $250,000 for
Oh,
those
no.
two, did you?
No. Yeah, pay good price for them.
Yeah, they're good hearses.
But
They're
I
great.
don't. Yeah, I mean, even cars that are what's Wendy? That's a 96.
Yeah, 96.
So even like early 2000s are still going for $80,000. No.
Jesus.
I look at it as though that it's a car. At the end of the day, it's just a station wagon that's been stretched a bit. I'm not going to pay any more than, you know, I haven't paid any more than $10,000 for any of the cars.
Really?
Yeah.
What a bargain.
So I think stretch was around 4,000.
Yeah.
Wendy was 6, 7, I think. The wagon downstairs, that was 6. The van, that was probably about 15 to 16. But other than that, no.
Other than that, 4 cars
Yeah.
for your company, and you've spent less than a half of what
Yep, definitely.
other people are spending
Yep,
on
one vehicle.
car.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's when their prices go up because they've got to maintain the payments on that car. Then they've got to, you know, their rent or their mortgage or whatever else on that. Like, you don't need to spend a lot of money
to provide service.
that. And I sat on it for a while, and stretch was going to be a lot higher than that. I think originally it had a $10,000 price tag on it. And I went, nah, not for an 88. No way. No. And yeah, okay, I've spent a little bit on it, but not a lot. None of our cars have been like fully stripped down and polished properly. They've all just been using the products that we've got now and just maintaining it.
They look wonderful.
So prices go up, OH&S changes, you know, more women, equal opportunity for everyone, different cultures coming into the business.
One thing that I am excited to see is more women in the mortuary.
Yeah.
If that'll ever happen. But
I've only really ever seen women in the mortuary.
Really? I've only ever seen men.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been men, but there's been more females doing mortuary work than men.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know the reason, but they were pretty weird and wacky people. You know what I mean? You could tell why they were doing what they were doing, but they were gorgeous people. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and smart, and that's how I learnt a lot of my trade. Was smooth talking the ladies. It's like, I'll help you embalm that one. You're doing a great job there, love. Yeah.
That's really funny because I was told that I would have to work harder than anybody else because it's a male-dominated.
That's true. Yes, you do. No.
I was told by Chris.
Yeah.
Chris
no.
Brember told me I wasn't good enough.
No. No. Like, just because people are female doesn't mean, like for us, like for me, it's like, what's the difference between you doing the job and me doing the job? Nothing. Same. You know what I mean? You see me getting down and getting my hands dirty too. I try to get out of it if I can. But it's like,
no, I will say that that's one thing that I appreciate about. I mean, there's lots of things I appreciate about.
Come on,
you.
tell me how you really feel.
Well, it's just that I've really appreciated that.
I'm getting a bit sick in my mouth.
Am I being too nice?
No,
to you?
oh yeah, you are.
No, I appreciate that you help out in the business as much as the rest of us instead of sitting in an office all day.
See, I was always taught, and I think this is changes too. All the advances.
Adventures?
Yeah, I was thinking of vultures. But I remember a boss, and it was back when I was managing at Target. My very first store manager that I loved, absolutely, I thought he was bee's knees. He said to me, you know what? He says, being a manager doesn't mean that you just sit in your gold chair and just do what you have to do. I've only got leather, so I'm not quite at gold chair. But he said, if we're all equal every day until your role you need to step up to be manager. So out on funerals, they don't know who's who unless they read our name badge. But other than that, no one is different. And why should I get you to go and do something that I'm not willing to do myself? I'll show you how I want things done because that's how I've been trained or how I like things to be done. Open to suggestions. That's what we're here to do. Like if it's going to make our job a lot easier, then fantastic. But I think when Steve, my manager, told me that, we're all equal until we need to step up is exactly how it should be, So, we've all had those bosses that have just, delegate or micromanage and you just say, well, why don't you freaking come down and give us a hand? Like, I was very outspoken back in the day. I didn't tolerate people that would just sit on their bum and do nothing. You got to do it. Like when the numbers are down or someone's running in sick, you got to come down and help us clean a car, or you need to help. But that's changed. That whole thing has changed with society too. What's another question?
Do the lack of regulations affect changes in procedure in the funeral industry? And this is a two-parter. Are there any solid procedures, like universal procedures across the industry?
Well, the funeral industry in itself isn't 100% regulated. There is certain things that we follow because it's what we've all been taught to do. But it is easy for someone to just go and open up a funeral home and have it in their garage.
Yep.
Unless someone reports you or there's a smell, no one's going to know.
Yep. Exactly.
Now, saying that, obviously we've been permitted to be where we are. There's other funeral directors around Melbourne that aren't permitted because they think they can get away with it.
Yep.
But if they do get caught, then it's a huge council fine. It's not. I think there is associations around which in the early days I probably thought, you know what, that'd be nice to be a part of, but it's not any longer.
No.
It's all it is
cosmetic.
is money. Yeah, it's meant to bring the work in, but it doesn't.
And yeah.
And you've got other funeral directors coming along and looking at your premises. Now, I don't really want any other funeral directors coming in and snooping around and going, oh, I don't like that, or you're not going to pass until this is done. Like, who gives them the right to tell me how I do that? Now, if I've got something that is an OH&S issue or safety issue, or I don't have a cool room, I don't have running water, fine, tell me, right? That's how you should have. These funeral homes that don't operate with running water and don't have their own mortuary and don't have their own cool rooms should be shut down. I'm going to tell you, 100% should not be operating as a funeral home. We have families that say, do you have your own mortuary? Do you have your own cool room? Yes, I do. Fantastic. Then you must be a reputable one, because all of the other directors are running out of, like, what was the other day when we, there's 4 directors running out of one location. No, sorry, because that's when the system fails. Saying that, I was sharing a facility with someone when I first started, but I was only doing 1 or 2 a month. Like, I wasn't, 30s, 40s or whatever, so, but I was lucky that someone did that. But my projected thing was I was going to get out of there.
Yep.
I was going to get my own vehicles. I was going to do that.
Yep.
For me to have 2 facilities side by side and the cars and what the future is going to lead, that's a big thing for me. I'll often stand out there and go, wow, like, did I think I'd have 2 hearses and a wagon and a van? No, I didn't. But I have. Yeah, they may not be top of the range, but they're top of the range for my level. You know what I mean? As you were saying before about it's long as it's a beautiful car and it's a safe car for people to travel in, then it's fine.
Exactly right.
So, yeah, I'm not going to let some association come in and tell me how I'm going to do it. Does it affect my numbers? No, it doesn't.
And especially because it's the particular association that I'm speaking about is not a governing body. So
no, it's not.
It's not enforcing any regulations. No. It's not enforcing any legalities. All it is so that you get the pretty stamp on the bottom of your website. Yeah. It is purely cosmetic.
There was going to be a huge thing in regards to things being regulated, but people got a little bit scared or have never dealt with it before. So these government bodies are going, well, we don't know anything about it.
We don't know what
so they're going to go out and ask the big boys.
Yep.
Because the big boys are the ones that control everything. Well, they're not.
No. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I want the big boys regulating
the
industry.
Prime example, we've got a local crematorium cemetery to where we are here. They built this state-of-the-art, well, it was at the time, state-of-the-art mortuary, cool rooms, viewing rooms, the whole box and dice, all of these beautiful location rooms, so you can go and do your arrangements as independent funeral homes. Did I agree with it? No, probably not, because then you could have 15 funeral directors running out of that and you're fighting for mortuary space. But they can't use that space anymore. It's actually never, ever been used.
Really?
Yeah, and the reason is because the large boys complained about it and took it to the media and said, well, we can operate as a funeral home doing it this way, then every other funeral director needs to do that. But those funeral directors that were complaining had been around for 100 years, so they've got the goodwill. You know what I mean? So you can say whatever you want, but the ones that can't afford to be in, locations, are they starting out and they're legit, or are they doing it to use and abuse? But yeah, and the cemetery, and it's all hidden behind doors. You don't even know it exists. You could walk in there and you'd have no idea where it is.
No, I didn't. If it's the cemetery I'm thinking of, I've never heard of this before in my entire life.
So they got this beautiful location, and it'll never be used ever.
Wow.
Yeah, ever get used because of the big boys. So, but I am a true believer that if you are going to start a business, you got to do things by yourself. Yep. If it was something that you needed to fix something in a mortuary, then that facility or wherever, or You want to hold that body overnight, they've got the storage facility. Great, I can see that. You need mortuary space, then go in there, do what you need to do with the body and then bring it out.
Yep.
Fantastic. But to hold it there and run from there, I mean, we could do arrangements at that cemetery. We can do it at any cemetery, but they've got, these rooms that we can use if we need to. Interview families or whatever there. We can do it all there, But it was just a waste of money, really, for them to do it. Because everyone was for it. And then, as soon as open doors, they went, nah. And if you don't pin it, then we're gonna go to the press, and so they had to.
That's horrible.
And the second part there is, what's the most common question families ask? No, that wasn't part of that, was there?
It was
any solid procedure.
Yeah.
So solid procedures is basically, we do follow a certain one, and I think it's just because that's how we've been trained. Once again, you do things in life that you've been shown.
Yep, exactly.
Is it correct? Well, it works. So is it the best? I think everyone then adapts their way to what they want it to be.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's that next question? The one that I just read out just before?
What's the most common question that families ask when they come in or when they come to
Or
us?
what do you reckon it would be? Where's the toilet?
How are you?
Yeah. Yeah. I've driven a long way and I need to use the ladies.
Yes.
Do you have coffee?
Well, we do have coffee.
Yeah.
If you'd like to come down for a coffee,
Yeah.
please.
See? That's
What I have experienced the most is actually not any of the ones that we've got listed here, but asking, is mum here? Is mum in your mortuary right now? Is Nan in your
well, I
mortuary
hope so.
right now? Bloody hope
Because
so.
she was this morning.
Yeah.
No, they want to know that where they are at is exactly where they're at.
Exactly. They want to know that they know where mum is.
Because with us, we know exactly where they are. But for the larger companies, and I take it even some of the other independents that may have been bought out by other funeral homes too, they'll have central mortuaries.
Yeah.
So if you go to, say, Berwick, for example, and they say, oh, yeah, but mum's at Berwick, and you go, no. They go, oh, yeah. I said, no. They'll be at, they might be down the street at their central mortuary. It won't be physically at that branch. Mum will be brought to that branch overnight in a big...
But mum is kept 2 blocks away.
Yeah. And I think people like the comfort of knowing, okay, if I drive past you, I know that mum's there.
Yeah, I think that I'd like that comfort.
Yeah.
Which
Rather
is
than, where's mum? Oh, Albury.
one of the reasons why I would never... My grandma, all she has ever wanted is for her funeral to be done by one particular company.
Yeah.
After seeing the way that the company works,
Yeah.
I won't be...
No.
She will not be going there. Not only that, but my family is never going to be able to afford to give my grandma the funeral that she deserves with that company.
Yeah.
So I will be going to an independent.
Yeah.
This is up in Queensland.
Yeah.
I know who I'm going to when she passes away, and I will be going to I will be going to an independent. I won't be going to the company that she wants.
No.
But also because I know the family of where I'd like to send her.
Yeah.
My best friend is their cleaner.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
And I know that they have their own mortuary and that they run out of there. And
Yeah, and that's how it should be.
Yep.
You have a funeral home. That's what it is. It's a home for all of us.
Right. Exactly. And how are you gonna, bring someone into the care of your funeral home, but then send them 2 blocks away?
No,
where
it's ridiculous. The other thing that I get quite regular is, okay, yep, all right, we're sitting down. Let's get down to the brass tacks. What's the price?
Yeah.
And obviously it's like they just want a figure. It's like, well, got to go through a little bit more of the process before we can give that. But the price that we're going to give you is not going to change. That's it, unless you change things along the way. But it'll be well and truly that. So price is a big thing. Like you said, where the loved one's going to be, and do we do our own mortuary? And
Yes, we do.
Do I have to pay extra if you have to dress mum, or can I dress mum? And of course you can. You know, where will that happen? It'll be in our mortuary or it'll be here. You know, we've now got the space downstairs to do that as well. So, you know, that can be done. But transparency,
Absolutely.
like I'm not hiding anything. You want to come in, you want to see what we do and how we do it, come in. Come in and see it.
And we've
you
got
know?
a beautiful mortuary. Got a wonderful mortuary.
You know, I mean, I know of the style of how, which is quite grand and whatever, but that's just me being, you know, like the wish thing. But would it make, without paying a crap load of money, would it make what I do better? No, it won't. It's just look. That's all.
I have always stood by this, but I think that it doesn't matter how much money you spend. You can have all the gear and no idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter
That
how
rhymed.
much. I know.
Wow.
I know. My brother used to say, and my mum used to say it to my brother all the time, because every time he decided he wanted to do a sport, he'd go out and he'd buy the most expensive of everything. My mum would always go, Blake, you've got all the gear, but no idea. So it's really drilled into my brain.
Yeah.
But you can have the most, you know, state of the art facilities and the biggest mortuary in the entire world. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can't provide a good, dignifying service. And you know,
As long as it's clean and tidy,
exactly.
and it doesn't have the last person's stuff all over it, and that you're giving them the best wash and dress, and you're using good products rather than dishwashing liquid.
Yep.
I
mean, we use NAC products.
Yeah.
I mean, I only just started using NAC products on my hair again, but we use more products than I use on myself.
So yeah, mortuary work is a big thing. Cool room, you know, maintaining of that, making sure that's because you're not, you know, there's lots out there that aren't doing what they're meant to be doing because they're lazy.
Exactly,
you know,
right.
and I got a big shock when you came across telling me how your old company used to do things, and that's and they charge families for it. That to me is that karma train's coming, and I'm a true believer of that. I'm driving the bus. I'm driving it. It's a big bus. Of all the people that I think, you know what, it's going to come. It's really you don't do what's right by the people and the deceased, it's coming.
I will say, when I first started working here, and I mean, my first day you put me in the mortuary and you were like, okay, prep this person for me. I'd never been given that level of trust. I've never been encouraged
I know.
to have
That was a bad decision.
confidence.
But you know,
Wow.
Not a bad decision.
that was just, you know.
That was a good decision. Don't make everybody think
like,
that I'm
out
bad
you
at my
go.
job. That was a good decision, Chris. Take that back. What did you just say before about not being able to take back what you've said?
I've said it now. It's out there. No.
But yeah, seeing the way that, you know, the way that you just immediately trusted me to take care of somebody.
The thing is too that you don't learn unless you get in and do it. You know, I mean, I've always learnt by the look and the feel and the touch. Not like unless I'm really really into it, I won't read a lot.
No.
And I think that was just as a kid. I never
I'm
really.
I'm a doer.
Yeah. Get me in there, show me how to do it, or talk to me about why we do what we do and what anatomy and physiology. What does that come into what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
That's how I've learned. That's how I can teach you guys too. I think we'll do one more, and then because we're nearly at the hour, and you guys are probably like
Yeah, probably.
falling asleep.
I think the last one we should do should be this nice little one. What are some things that you would want to take with you, whether you're buried or cremated?
Yeah. Look, one of the big things I reckon I would want is a photo of my family.
Yep.
I do have a lot of puppets at home, but I think like we've got a puppet at home that's 35 years old. So for me, my kids have got an interest in them.
Yep.
And I reckon they go, you know, they were dads and we've played with them, and like there's certain puppets that I won't use because they're the kids.
Yeah.
You know, like if I use it, it doesn't tend to work as good as how they use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, picture of family or something like that. You know, the rest of it I'm going to see when I leave. You know what I mean? Hopefully.
Yeah.
No one's ever come back to say, like Jesus' second coming, or, you know, any of the other gods that have come, you know. It's, yeah. So I reckon just that to go with me. That's a comfort thing.
Agree.
What did you have?
I would want to still be wearing my ring with my dog's ashes. My dog's not dead yet, by the way. My dog's still very much alive.
But if she does, then the
But
dog...
if she does die, which she will,
yeah.
oh my God, I've got in my head the other day, she's 5 years old in July.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a tearjerker.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
It's not long
5
to
years
go.
old.
Yeah.
11 years only.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably still wear I'd take the ashes jewelry with me, but I'd also want our ashes to be mixed together
Yeah.
at the end.
Into salt and pepper shakers.
Just on pepper shakers. Yeah. Orange fireworks.
So,
No.
look, people have put, photos, they've put photo albums, they've put, you know, alcohol, they've put golf, like a partial golf club, golf balls, tennis rackets, fishing rod.
All sorts. All sorts. You just can't create glass. That's
No,
all it
but
is.
burial, you know, you can do whatever you want.
With the burial, you can put anything.
Oh, yeah, like, I've seen a lot. Drawings from the family. Yeah, all sorts.
I did a really, really beautiful burial with Danny at the start of this year. And the woman's family brought all of these photos of the family, and they all wrote, on one part of the coffin, they all wrote little notes, and then they stuck photos all over the coffin, and then the coffin and the photos and the notes got lowered. It was really
Into the ground. Yeah.
It was really, really beautiful.
You know, and look, sometimes, you know, when you think of what things you want to be buried or cremated with, there's a lot of family members that go, well, I'm going with you, and they'll want to get into the grave. I've only seen that a couple of times where they've nearly gone in.
Yeah.
And luckily, we've been there. If not, that would have. And talking about OH&S, far out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I cannot get over people who do not supervise their children around graves.
Well, I think because there's other people around but it's like it's your responsibility.
Yeah, it's your kid.
You know, and it's all good. You know, if people wish to bring their children, they've got to be aware of the issues or the safety issues.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely
or where's your kid? I don't know. Where's Brian? Have you seen Brian?
Probably in the grave.
Yes, he's got in.
Brian's gone for a dig.
Yeah, he's got. Oh, look, Granddad's hand. Yeah. So, I think that'll do us
That's the
for
goodbye
today.
music.
Yeah. But thank you very much, Annie, for
Thank you.
your words of wisdom today.
That's right.
And,
And thank you to all of my friends who sent me questions.
Yeah. No. With our friends, it's hard to. I mean, we've got a lot of information, but it's knowing what people want to listen to and all of that. So I hope it's helped. If not, too bad.
Too bad, so sad. Tune in next week, though.
Yeah. For all the things that Chris and Annie stuffed up on this episode.
Oh yeah, we've still got a whole other
We've
list.
got a whole lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She's been typing away. I thought she was just pretending to type.
No.
But no, she was typing away. So very good. All right. Well, thank you very much. And what are we doing that for? I have no idea. Thank you very much. And we will see you next time. We'll talk to you next time. You won't see me next time. But
No.
anyway, enjoy.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.